and to the freezer compartment where she died. These photographs, first of all, show this is the construction site into the kitchen, and this was taken after her body was found, but there's clearly the ability to lock the entire kitchen off, and this was taken by a member of the family. However, what's most concerning also is that the freezer door has a lock on it. This is a lock that you can prevent somebody from the inside from getting out if it's pressed. And we believe that it's very possible that this door, for reasons that we cannot explain, without ever looking in the freezer, someone came and locked this freezer door so that Kenneka could not exit the door. Now, there have not been adequate answers that have been provided by the Crown Plaza Hotel. We have the police report. We have what they've described to us as the video, and the most revealing place on the video is that we see Kenneka entering this kitchen that it was under construction at 3:30. We know that the Crown Plaza and the security company knew that she was missing at that very time, that they were reporting to the family that they were doing their best to find her. All they had to do was look on the video, and they would see that Kenneka was wandering the hotel, and they would see that she had wandered into the kitchen. There is no explanation that we've received at this time why Crown Plaza, why the security company, and why the Caddyshack Murray Brothers restaurant didn't do anything for nearly a day and a half, and that her body supposedly lay there until it was allegedly discovered, I believe, at about 12:30 a.m. the next day. And by the way, then her body stayed there for nearly 5 hours while the family waited to find out what had happened to Kenneka. So we expect to get all that information during this pretrial discovery process. The complaint's been filed. The defendants have an opportunity now to answer the complaint, and we will get in due time a full incident reports filed by these defendants plus their insurance companies. We'll get the videotape. They say they've given it to us, but we want to make sure we have all of it. We will get all of their reports, and we'll be able to take the testimony of the security guards and all the Crown Plaza employees so that we fully understand why this tragedy occurred and how it can be prevented. What's most concerning about this case right now from our perspective is the Crown Plaza knew immediately, not many hours later, immediately she was reported by her friends and then her family, and her family was there at the Crown Plaza on at least 3 occasions, camping out to the point where the Crown Plaza called the police on the family because the family was so concerned about Kenneka's whereabouts. Why, under these circumstances, when Kenneka is clearly visible on security cameras, walking into an area where she was eventually found later frozen to death, what happened at this point? That's a mystery that will unfold during the processes. It'll generally take several years to resolve this case, and I appreciate it. If you've got any questions, I'll be free to answer them, and Tereasa would be available to answer just briefly any questions you have.
Mr. Fire, could you explain the mechanism on the freezer again?
Sure. This is right here is a lock. It can be pressed down, and it can secure the door, preventing anybody from the inside from exiting. It would effectively lock this door. And we believe that that door may have been locked from the outside.
Oh my
because
God.
there's no other
The
explanation
truth will come to light.
why
Believe
her
that.
body wasn't discovered. It's very
Justice for
possible
Kenneka.
that security people at the hotel knew she was missing, just looked into the kitchen under construction, saw that it wasn't secured, and started locking the doors and then left, and came back later to find, well, we've just locked in Kenneka.
So you're not saying that you believe that they did this on purpose?
No, there's absolutely no evidence that anybody did anything on purpose, and I don't believe it. There'd be no reason to do it. I think it's pure and utter negligence. No suggestion whatsoever that anybody did harm to Tereasa on purpose. What's more likely is that through pure negligence, someone noticed that the doors in the kitchen were open. They locked them like they should have been locked. They locked the freezer, and unfortunately they locked Kenneka into the freezer and resulted in her death.
You say that you haven't decided how much you'll be seeking from the Crown Plaza, whether 50 or 100 million. What does that depend on?
It depends on the facts of the case. The state has what we call punitive damages. Her pain and suffering during the period of time from the time that she was locked in the freezer until the time she passed away, and the losses to her family. Those are all things that we'll consider and a jury would consider in this case.
Tereasa, if we may have you just
Can we
speak.
get a moment?
Sure.
We do need to move those
That's fine.
microphones. How are you doing, first of all?
I'm blessed.
What do you hope will come of this lawsuit?
Justice. I've been seeking justice from the beginning, and that was my purpose of seeking out for Mr. Pfeiffer.
I mean, obviously, your family, Kenneka's friends, from the very beginning, you've felt that the hotel just did not do its job. Can you just speak a little bit to that?
Well, I feel like I was asked if I had answers. I was seeking for answers, and trying to find my daughter. I have not received help until now.
Let's be clear. When Tereasa indicates she's seeking answers, Tereasa was notified by Kenneka's friends at 4:30 in the morning. Kenneka had been walked out of the room about 2:30. And so the hotel was on notice at about 2:30 because the friends first went to the hotel, said, our friend is missing, she's in the hotel somewhere. Then the family became involved, Tereasa. They started to call the hotel. They showed up at the hotel numerous times. They showed up at the hotel so many times that the hotel called the police on the family. So when Tereasa is commenting about finding out what happened, to this day, the hotel hasn't adequately explained why. Because she was there so many times over a period of nearly an entire day before Kenneka was found. What was going on there?
Tereasa, at this point, it's been more than a year. Talk to us just about how your life has changed without your daughter.
My life will never be the same. I don't know if you have children or not, but I birthed my daughter. And to know that I had to bury my child because of someone I couldn't receive help, but maybe if I could have received this help, she could be here today. It hurts. It's a pain that I can't even explain. I don't even understand.
Sorry, if I may ask again about the freezer. Do you know the manufacturer of that?
No, I don't. But I think it's a very common design, and I think it can be secured. It can be locked from the outside. And if it is locked from the outside, I don't believe you can exit from the inside. But again, that's something that we've got to determine. We do know that the doors, we have photographs of the doors locked. And this was at a time when Tereasa was waiting, and the family was waiting for word on Kenneka. These pictures were taken by Teresa's brother during the time that they were waiting for some answers. He didn't really get permission. He just went down to the area where Kenneka was and took these pictures. So it's clear that the area could have been secured. It's clear it may have been secured while she was already in there. Because remember, she was missing for 24 hours. The hotel allegedly did a inspection and looked for her. Well, I suspect at some point that they secured those doors with her inside. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to find out.
I guess what you're saying is you just don't believe that the hotel acted quick enough and that when they started to, it just all went wrong.
Remember, we're not talking quick enough. We're talking 24 hours. They were notified, and they have a security staff. They were notified almost immediately. They were notified before Kenneka, we know, wandered into the restaurant. I should say the restaurant's kitchen. We know Kenneka left and was reported missing about 2:30. We know on videotape that she didn't enter that unsecured construction area in the kitchen of that restaurant hotel until about 3:30. We know that's on video. So there's no explanation why for 24 hours she laid there. There's no explanation. And that's one of the things Teresa and I want to find out. What the heck happened for 24 hours? And was she locked in there and suffered a fate worse than death, being locked into a freezer until you die? I want to know those answers, because that's as probable as anything else. There's no explanation why, in light of a missing person and the family camping out at the hotel and the police being called 4 times and the hotel having it on videotape, why in 24 hours nobody ever looked into that unsecured restaurant and that freezer. Or, it's possible, someone unwittingly saw doors open, locked them, and locked her in unwittingly.
In reading this, it looks like you also say that the hotel and Capitol Security was aware there was some sort of party, too many people in a room.
They were aware from the very beginning. People were aware that there was a party going on in that hotel, that a smoke detector, probably because pot was being smoked in the room, had been disabled. And security guards, we know from interviewing some of the witnesses, security guards had been up in that room and had known that that a party was taking place. This wasn't an event that the hotel wasn't aware of. The hotel has security guards. The security guards had been up in that room. The hotel was advised that she was missing by 2:30, which is about an hour and a half after she arrived at the hotel. We have her on videotape throughout that period of time wandering around the hotel. We know where she last ended up. And yet they did nothing, and they knew people were looking for her. What the heck was going on there? What, for 24 hours? That doesn't happen. If you've got a missing person, you've got an Amber Alert for a child, although this is a little older. Why isn't anybody doing anything? That's our concern. I want to thank you very much, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Thank you very much. And remember, please, just no reporting on the location.
I'm
You
sorry.
can use that. Yeah.
Ask again about the door, but I just want to make sure I understand.
That's the locker where she was found.